audio clip of Biden saying that. I want you to run this video.
Run this video.
I just sent you it to your messenger.
Okay. Why is this not streaming on my big now?
Why is what?
Streaming.
It won't go to set though.
Well, that's there it goes. What up, guys? Dick Liberty here.
We got this camera as well. So
we got that one
shot
well.
here.
There it is. What's up, guys?
Camera right here.
Hey, can we get a check on our tech through the Facebook? Make sure we're on Facebook because it says we're streaming. I know we're probably streaming on YouTube right now. But for some reason, I didn't see the output to Facebook, and I would really hate if that wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying, man? Oh, we are. Okay, cool. We're there. All right, we're good. We're here. We're happy to be here. We got to say hello. And on that note, shall we cue the opener?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let me shut my music off. Where is it?
I'm not sure.
Is it taking a minute to load?
Could be.
Well, this is just redonkulous. How many tests did we do before we started this?
Enough for this not to happen.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. What's up?
Indirect tactics efficiently applied
Good.
are inexhaustible as heaven and earth. Unending is the flow of rivers and streams, like the sun and the moon. They end but to begin anew. Like the four seasons, they pass away to return once more.
I ain't gonna try to be
What's up, guys? Thanks for joining tonight. You are with Dick Liberty and Mr. James White, half of the Dick Liberty crew. The other half couldn't make it tonight, unfortunately. But, you know, everybody's doing good. They wish you well, and they wanted to say hello. So, without further ado, welcome. I need to adjust that mic down a little bit as well. There we go. I say welcome, and thanks for joining tonight. And we got a lot of shit to talk about, man.
Yes, we do.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for tonight.
Why are you excited for tonight, Mr. White?
We got a lot of
Mr.
interesting
White.
topics. We have a lot of interesting topics today.
Such as?
Well, I guess the first thing we can cue here is our story of well, not our story, but the story of Rush Limbaugh passing.
Yes. Oh, that was sad news in the world.
It was sad news.
Was it not?
He died of lung cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and not COVID, I guess.
No, not COVID. He died of lung cancer at, what was it, 70?
At the age of 70.
Okay.
You know, I personally have, you know, when I grew up, my parents did not really get very politically involved.
Okay.
Or try and explain to me what even a Democrat versus a Republican even is, or what that means.
Right.
And so when I turned 18 years old, and I moved out of the house, I picked up a job delivering auto parts.
Auto parts.
After a direct sales job that went terrible.
Okay.
And so I was on the road all the time.
All the time.
All the time. So I'm, you know, working 8 to 10 hour days. I'm in my car, you know, 7.5 to 9 hours a day. I would listen to Rush Limbaugh.
Okay. How did that impact you?
And well, he kind of gave me my base foundation of political knowledge, right? Of kind of what each side really represents.
Right.
He was, in my mind, definitely critical of both sides, right?
Right.
He was definitely way more conservative than he was liberal, but however, he was not afraid to speak out against the Republicans that were in power and not making the right choices, right?
A pioneer of conservative media.
And I thought that was something that a lot of people really enjoyed, and why he had such a huge following. I believe it was like 15 million people would tune in and listen to him on a daily basis, which was incredible.
Well, wasn't he also an addict?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, what was he addicted to? Because I heard Rush had an addiction in opioids, things like that, and his wife said that he had not reached the point to where he could live without it because it was necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says here that as a result of serious back pain, he basically got addicted to pain pills.
Okay.
And this is all the way back from 2003. But
Okay.
he definitely got caught illegally purchasing hundreds of prescription pills per month.
Hundreds?
Over a period of several years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Engaged in the practice of doctor shopping.
Okay, doctor shopping.
Visiting different doctors to obtain multiple prescriptions for drugs that would otherwise be illegal.
Which was also super popular in the state of Florida, correct? He's a Florida resident, is he not?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Doctor shopping is punishable up to 5 years in prison under Florida law.
Right.
Charges against Limbaugh were dropped after he sought help and agreed to the prosecutors for settlement. Limbaugh said that he became addicted to painkillers as a result of the serious back pain. But it was definitely something I know, 2004, 2005, I think was still an issue.
Okay.
Right, because that's really when I started listening to him on a regular basis.
Okay. Well, this one's not popping up. Let's see if not so pop up while you talk. I listen to him too, actually.
Yeah.
I've listened to him coming home from drives or coming home from different meetings and things of that nature. And, I like to listen in to analyze all perspectives, not just one perspective. And he definitely had a lot of interesting insight and thoughts, often on the kind of cutting edge of radio. I believe, if I'm not mistaken in his history, got locked out of radio at one point or told to quit, and he did his own thing. He built it, and they came.
Oh.
As you said, 54 million followers. I know that he has at least up to 15 million listeners at any one given time during a show.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done quite a bit of. He's been a radio broadcast titan in and of its own sense.
The New York Times article about his death was talking about the conspiracy theories that he was kind of famous for.
Okay.
One was, how Barack Obama's birthplace, the president, in quote, has yet to prove that he is even a citizen.
Right.
End quote. So the article, of course, he said falsely.
He said
in 2009. And claims that Mr. Obama's 2009 health care bill would empower death panels and euthanize elderly Americans. In the wake of last year's election, he amplified Mr. Trump's, it says here in the article, groundless claims of voter fraud on President Biden's inauguration day. During one of his final broadcasts, he insisted to listeners that the new administration had not legitimately won it.
Had not. And is that why would he insist that? Was that based off the Dominion issue, the miscounting of 300 votes in? What was
the Dominion issue? The
New Hampshire.
We actually have an article there we could talk about here in a little bit.
Okay.
Where recent voter fraud was found with Dominion voting machines. But he also talked about Giuliani's case of the mail-in ballots in Georgia. Pennsylvania, whereas, when they stopped counting, all of a sudden, an extra 100 to 150,000 mail-in ballots would all of a sudden be counted, and 100% of them were for Biden.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
You know, none of those papers were even forwarded. So it's supposedly mail-in ballots, and of course they're not doing any kind of signature verification or anything on that, which is clear evidence of voter fraud. I know.
So which looks more believable now that Trump's been acquitted twice, two-time acquitted champion, and then you have the allegations with the Dominion Company of the voting machines, the voter fraud, the miscounting of 300 votes in each of the Republican candidates' votes, not just in Trump's votes, but I believe it was in for the Senate and the House, correct?
Yeah, no, so this was actually, where are we at here? This was actually a local election in New Hampshire recently, 2021. Okay, so they had primaries in February this year.
Okay.
And the headline is, "They got caught. Dominion-owned machines removed 6% of votes from each Windham, New Hampshire GOP candidate. The same machines were used in 85% of the towns across the state."
Wow.
So basically here, so they did a recount.
Okay.
And in that recount, they identified the votes counted by hand and the votes counted by the machine had a discrepancy. Okay.
Okay.
So, for instance, in one district, you had 4,777 votes were counted. Okay.
Okay.
4,480 of them had physical copies that they could recount and do signature verification on.
Right.
But the Dominion machine counted an extra 297 votes.
Okay.
Okay. In another district, there were 5,591 votes. 5,292 were verified. 299 were counted extra on the Dominion machines. In another district, 5,089 votes were counted on the machine.
Okay.
4,786 were verified. 303 was the difference that the voting machine took away from the Republican side and gave to the Democrat side. And these votes just came out of nowhere, right? So it's like when they do the recount, then they're able to actually hand identify each individual voter who actually voted, but the count versus the machine count has a discrepancy of about 300 votes across the board.
So 300 across the board. That's the constant, is what you're saying.
Correct. In this example, that is proven to be true.
Okay. So is there any reason that people? I mean, is there any point to continue to hash this issue and
Yes.
talk about it? What point would that be?
Yes,
Because I think it's so. People are tuning it out at this point. When you hear this stuff so much, you either do one of two things: you tune it out, or you believe it.
Well, I don't even know if people are really hearing it too much, honestly, because it's not the narrative of the mainstream media at the moment.
Right.
However, this is very, very important because we, as citizens of the country and voters,
What's up,
need
Mr.
to have
Thanks for joining.
need to have confidence going into future elections
Right.
that our voice is actually going to be heard and not just going to be dictated by a small group of individuals who are trying to make a power grab at the
Okay.
system that we live in, right?
Right.
They call it saving democracy, but clearly it's cheating and telling us who to vote for.
Right.
And that's an issue, right? I mean, this is the reason why, people came over to this country to start the United States to begin with, was it not?
Yeah, that's true. And we were founded by immigrants escaping various types of persecution, if I'm not mistaken, as it's taught in our history. Is that correct?
Well, right.
Right.
And this evidence like this is just more and more information that's supporting the exact direction that we're heading to, is back to old English rule, a dictatorship.
Old English rule. A tyranny?
It's a monarchy technically, right? But
Well-
that's still a dictatorship. You know,
Right.
It's a socialist dictatorship.
Socialist dictatorship. You've said about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You know, this
And-
way they can implement, you know, the New World Order, universal income.
So you're talking about socialist dictatorship under the guise of a duopoly operating as a democracy in a country that was founded as a republic by people who we hold in high regard from the stories that we do hear, that would be rolling in their grave with this, and probably are with this bullshit that's going on. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I'm saying that they almost lost it with Trump in office, and they're going to make damn sure that it's never going to happen again, which is why they attempted to try to impeach him a second time, to flag him that he could never run for office again.
So that plan went out the window. What's the next plan?
Oh man, well the next plan is to, I truly think is to bury the American dollar. You know, with these stimulus packages, what people don't understand, the stimulus package that already was passed, okay,
Right.
inflated the dollar by 40%.
40%
And the majority of that money went overseas, more than half. It didn't even go to our own country and our own relief efforts.
Where did it go to?
Well, I mean, there was a border wall in Jordan that they built.
Okay.
You know, they want to open the borders here in the United States and just let illegal immigrants come in and not even test them for COVID.
Okay.
But they want to spend our COVID relief dollars building border walls for international
Border walls.
countries.
For international countries.
Yeah, of course.
And it was that's okay. That's what we're approving
That's okay. That's what we're approving.
because it's not our country and keeping people out. Like, what's your take on the whole border bullshit?
Well, I mean, obviously, here's the game plan, right? I mean, they almost lost control of Trump in office, so now they need to saturate the voter base so much to where somebody like Trump could never win again. Now, there's a couple different ways that they can accomplish this. One is to open up the borders and allow illegal immigrants inside the borders, and then give citizenship to undocumented citizens that are already here, to then also give them voting rights.
Right.
Now, what they do, which is just crazy, but they literally have door-to-door campaigns and pamphlets to give these immigrants, and when they're going to give them citizenship and voting rights, they're going to tell them exactly who to vote for and who provided this opportunity for them to never forget that. Right?
Correct. So they basically, they're not stealing, they're fortifying position. They're locking down. You have Biden who, we got interesting audio from Biden, and I gotta apologize real quick because for some reason all the tests we did, everything we did, we had all the images up, we had everything up, and now we can't seem to bring up the external image or the video, so we're gonna have to make an adjustment on that. In the meanwhile, we're gonna continue on. I can play the audio. We're gonna talk about this audio piece as we go through this, and this one better come up. You son of a gun. That one's gonna come up anyway. But
we can read that one off. Though.
yeah, we will read that one off because I think it's just going to have more of an impact regardless. Tell me, since you're talking about this piece with, the politics and how it's played out and the way they try to, the narrative they write is all doom and gloom and all the bullshit, right? And they direct you over here, they misdirect you over there, they're gunning after people who threaten an establishment, or their establishment, their democracy. They use things like immigration. They use things like I was thinking about this, driving home. Why does every fucking politician say, we're going to fight for your right? Why are you voting and buying into the bullshit of fighting for your right? If it's already your right, why the fuck do you have to fight for it? It's already your inherent right, right?
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be, but
when you have a system who's trying to take those rights away from you, there's
Yes.
something that you might have to fight for. I think the big problem is how do you actually properly do your due diligence to vet the politician that you're going in to vote for? I mean, and I think that's the toughest thing to do, is who can you actually trust and believe who's actually going to do something? I know from my political experience, knowing seeing people who have had a lifelong history of being in politics is usually bad. You know, they are there because the big tech and giant corporations who are actually spending the big dollars to make sure that they're elected. Like, you have to understand, all it takes to get elected is to get the message out that you exist and what you stand for.
Right.
Okay. I've seen over 700 victories in politics now so far in my career, and I've taken down 18 and 30-year incumbents in different positions, and I'm telling you,
on the other screen.
the only thing that has to be done is to have the actual money to educate the public that you actually exist, so that they're educated enough to know to vote for you when it is time to vote
Right.
at the ballot, right, on election day. So there are ways to buy elections, and it's really sad to say, but it's the truth. Now, usually these candidates who have had a lifelong career in politics have done the right things and made the right laws in favor of big tech and big corporations, which
Right.
is why they keep funding them and giving them enough money to do the proper reputation management and to get the word out that they're, for the people, right?
Of course.
You gotta understand, like, the name of the game is, we do polling, right? We
Right.
find out how people react to certain messages. And this way we create a message that resonates with a certain group of people, and we let them know. Because we know that if we say it in this way, it'll point them in this direction. And that's what they're doing against us. And they have way more of a budget to do so, which is why they're so successful at it.
Right. Obviously.
So the trick is how can you educate the public on what the actual truth is, and then how do you actually objectify what the truth really is and who to actually trust is the toughest decision.
I think it comes down to the language. I think when you choose the right language, you can deliver the message and you don't put trust in jeopardy. So, and I say that because, we have these movements. We have Black Lives Matter. We have, I want to talk about Black Lives Matter for a minute.
Sure.
Black Lives Matter, right? And you say you have this senator or this House representative or this vice president or this president is saying, I'm going to put this in the legislature for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you can't legislate your love. You can't legislate your love. You can't. It's not. Yes, is it the system? It's a combination of the system, but it's also a combination of the home. Where is the father? You don't have the father, and this is, I was watching Denzel Washington today,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something that really stuck with me is you don't have the father in the home. You will find the father on the streets. You find the father on the streets, then the court system becomes your mother.
Yep.
And the prison becomes your home. So, when I was thinking about this, which is leading to the next topic we're going to talk about, it was really resonating with me. Why do we always put the label on a situation that we're generating? And we use the labels like race that is rooted as a competition between two in the dictionary,
Mhm.
okay? And you have that to label people in classes.
I'll tell you why. Because the enemy works with the Luciferian doctrine. It's all about order out of chaos. Okay, they are trying to put people in a box, divide people, make them think that they belong to a specific group. This way, they can play the identity politics game that they play, right?
Right.
To then try to hold different people accountable as if they're supposed to act in a certain way because they look a certain way.
Because
right?
they look a certain
or
way.
if they think a certain way.
Because they're profiled a certain way.
So this is what they do, and the reason why they can create order out of that kind of chaos is because they can deliver messaging that distracts everybody while they're actually doing what they think is correct. And it's really sickening because it's going to lead to things like Rush Limbaugh talked about,
Right.
Death panels, eugenicism, things like what Bill Gates has been pushing for years, right? These things are very scary. There are a small group of people that will sit in a room once or twice a year, like the Bilderbergs, right?
Oh yeah.
And talk about what they can do to lower the human population so they can have more control.
Remember that story I did about the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah, I remember that.
Georgia Guidestones erected March 22, 1980. It's the day after my birthday. I have nothing to do with it. But I went there, and I read it, and we put up pictures, and it has the principles, and it's written in every major language, from Sanskrit to English. And it talks about, living in tune with nature. It talks about living and using your resources, not wasting it on whatever nefarious bullshit that we waste it on.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it, guys. You're running around chasing a piece of paper because someone said it means something.
I'm telling you.
Sadly, that's all we believe. And then we're fastly approaching the socialist environment. You're being mandated to do all the things that increase your chances of COVID and enhance COVID if in fact you do get COVID by separation, which enhances your depression, which enhances your loneliness, which enhances your alcoholism, which enhances opioid use. Not that wasn't a fucking crisis. Which enhances, meth use in great states like North Dakota, where their state campaign against that was meth. We're on it. I bet you are, Christy Nolan. Anyway, that was not a cheap shot. That was all in good humor. If you can't take a joke, fucking don't know what to tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is all stuff that we could talk about for hours.
It's going somewhere.
But our next story is a prime example of how the system is trying to divide and conquer.
Okay.
So this is literally from yesterday.
Oh yeah.
All over the place. This has been reported.
This is insanity.
Now, a New York City public school principal urged parents to reconsider their whiteness.
Whoa. I thought I heard Shapiro talking about this.
Yes, you did.
I did, right?
Yes,
so,
you did.
Hey, how are ya? How are you up there in New York? You guys gotta learn about how white you are. It don't snow there enough, does it? Go ahead, sorry.
Literally distributing
Tourette's.
literature. So sending something home with the kids to their parents, advocating white traitors and white abolitionists who dismantle institutions. The documents have stirred an absolute outrage online, on Twitter. But basically, here's the deal. So educators at Eastside Community School in Manhattan passed out materials that included the 8 White Identities, which is written by Barner Hess, an associate professor of African American Studies at Northwestern University.
Did he say why he wrote this?
Well, what they want is they want people to understand.
Who is they? Wait, who is they? Is this
they?
him or is
this is the left?
This is the left.
This is the Biden administration.
This is the Biden-Obama president.
This is so what they want us to do is they want us white people to understand that there are 8 categories of our whiteness, and we need to consciously understand at what point we are and where we need to go, because they want us all to be white abolitionists at
White
in a color-coded meter. They sent this shit to these parents, right? So let's go over the scale. Now we're going to start from the worst whiteness going to the best version of whiteness that Barner Hess feels. So,
okay.
The worst form of whiteness, Dick, is the white supremacist.
So you're saying
Okay.
the worst form of a whiteness dick, a white dick, its worst form is a white supremacist. He is a supreme dick, is That's what you're saying. Okay.
Supremist. dick.
Supremist dick there is.
So they're clearly marked white society that preserves names and values white superiority.
White superiority.
Okay?
Okay.
Now I assume, you know,
Hang on, guys. I'm
maybe
getting this
Hitler would
together
fit
for you
that,
right here.
you think?
Huh?
Maybe Hitler would fit that, you think?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of evidence to suggest that maybe it wasn't about a man of color with Monsieur Hitler.
Yeah, you are right. You
Um,
are correct.
am I correct?
No, you are correct.
Okay, because wasn't there a picture with him and Jesse Owens?
Mhm.
Yeah. Hitler. I don't think the truth of Hitler has actually been told either. You know, I think there's a little bit more to that story, but we're not going to go on that. We're going to stay on this topic right here about the white identities and trans white people. Trans-identitive white people.
Well,
Trans-identitive white people.
Yeah, well, let's go to that light red section of the spectrum.
Okay.
And number 2,
Number 2.
you know, which I thought was a porn term, but I guess it's a racial term now.
White voyeurism.
White voyeurism.
Wouldn't change a white supremacist. Desires non-whiteness because it's interesting and pleasurable. Seeks to control the consumption or appropriation of non-whiteness. Is that in like relation to MTV Cribs and stuff like that? Like, I'm not saying that offensively, but you know, you got Wiggerboo John down there, like bumping his rapper music, and he's hitting his hip hop. He's like boom, 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 and then he's at a traffic light, and then homeboy crosses the street, and he's like turning the shit down. Like
White voyeurism would also be under if I were to listen to rap music. Because it says consuming black culture without the burden of blackness. So if I'm consuming any type of black culture without actually having the burden of blackness, then I'm a white voyeurist. So regardless if I think, you know, Tupac is a good rapper, I guess when I listen to him.
So why is it talent that's being compared? Why are they making talent and realism about color? What's driving this divide?
Well,
Are they like
it's the
terror
control, because
voyeurists?
if they can get us to worry about what we say and how we say it and who we say it around,
Mhm.
well then we're going to be completely distracted with meaningless bullshit while the really important shit is being done behind our backs.
Yes.
That's really the main goal here.
And it's there for you on the
it's just
screen, guys.
separating.
White voyeurism.
And it's amazing how...
Good evening, Michael Dillon. How are you, sir?
It's amazing
Thank you,
how many friends of mine, you
Hey.
know, are so careful about what they say in public these days.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know?
Me too. I'm real careful. I called my mom a nigger last week. That's how careful I am with what I say.
Well, let's go to number 3.
Look at the screen there. Hey, Michael Dillon, please chime in anytime you want to. We're talking about white voyeurism and the 8 white identities, and we're on number 3 now. White privilege.
Yep. So
Wait. Do you want the beat, bro?
no beat right now.
No.
So, well, white privilege in this definition
We're gonna close this out. with beat.
is someone, of course, a white person who will critique supremacy, but a deep investment in questions of fairness and equality under the normalization of whiteness and the white rule, you know, sworn goal of diversity.
Okay.
So meaning like, you know, if I'm an employer and I,
Are you a white employer or are you a man of color employer?
well, if I employ a man of color, I'm doing that towards the goal of diversity in my company,
Hmm.
then I am white privileged.
You're white privilege.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If I'm acting in that way, I guess, according to this definition.
Okay. So we can critique it, right? And, you know, of course, we only do that when we feel like we need to seek the validation of a man or a woman of color when they're in our presence, because we try to connect with them based on the false premise that there's a difference between us because of the color of our skin, instead of just trying to connect with them as a human. I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
All right, you're gonna love this next one. I think we're getting into that orange area.
So
of
they
the
could,
scale.
okay, and I'm glad you're referencing that color, because remember in 9/11 when they came out with the color scale of the terror attack?
Yes.
And they assigned an emotion to a color to let you know how safe it was during your average day.
Yeah.
This kind of looks like a page from that playbook altered in the pandemic as we are seeing it unfold. Whoa. You know, and when I say that, listen to this, please. Just listen to this, okay? It seems to be like part of the playbook for this pandemic, as you called it.
The thing, though, is you remember when you and I shouldn't say it that way, if you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about
Wait.
it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm?
What we didn't have when we came in office was not the vaccine, but the vaccinator. And he said when we took that, I shouldn't say it that way from you. I caught that right?
No, you called that
Okay,
right.
okay.
So he basically said, you should remember when we talked last, he was basically trying to refer, he was accidentally making a truth claim that he stated the last time he talked, that they had the vaccine, but not the actual apparatus to give the vaccine, which was totally false.
Correct.
Because it was around, Christmas time, towards the end of December, when, the Trump administration was actually giving people vaccines. I believe Biden himself even got a vaccine either late December or early January before he was in office.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this just really speaks to, how the public is really losing faith in government leadership altogether because the lies are so blatant.
So how much fucking faith do we have to sit here and watch and give away before we decide to do something about it? Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it written in the Constitution that if we get to a point of tyrannical government, that is our right and our responsibility to take it back?
It is. Well, why do you think they're getting so strict on the gun laws and requiring licenses and literally for you to pay $2,000 to $4,000 a year just to own a gun? So
That's all for tracking purposes.
So you can't fight back. No, they don't want the Civil War to happen where we overthrow the government again.
Would it be a civil war or a revolution?
It'd be a revolution.
Yeah.
It'd be a revolution. They're going to try to call it a civil war.
They are going to try and call it a civil war. And they're going to base it off class. They're going to base it off income. They're going to base it off of color. There's a reason why you've had a 40% increase. We talked about this, was it a week ago? We're fast tracking right now on the rate to double digits inflation if this continues, if something isn't done.
It's already cracked double digits. I mean, I don't know how much fast food you consume, but I do get myself some Egg McMuffins every now and again.
Okay.
But already, I'm telling you, already, I used to pay $4.85 literally a month and a half ago for an Egg McMuffin and a Coke. Okay?
I know gas has gone up 35 to 42 cents in various areas.
Now it's $5.85.
Oh,
it's an extra dollar already. And this is purely due to the inflation from the last stimulus bill. Now, the current stimulus bill they're trying to pass, they keep saying bigger is better, bigger is better.
That's creating and feeding
still,
crash.
And still trying to not give every American $1,200. It's crazy.
Right.
But this is why I think that they're trying to bury the dollar. They're trying to bring as many illegal immigrants into the country as possible to then give them citizenship to make them voters. They've been trying to make D.C. a state. They've been trying to make Puerto Rico a state, so that way they can acquire an extra 2 to 4 Democrat senators into the Senate, so they will always have a majority from here on out.
Isn't that set up kind of that way anyway, that Kamala Harris has a backdoor filibuster escape route that she can do on certain legislation and just insert what she wants and takes out what she wants? Still get the pass through the House?
Through the House, yes, but the Senate is still failing.
Okay.
So, as of right now, in 2 years, that might be a different story.
Right.
That might be a different story in 2 years. They do have technically a basic majority, but they don't have a major majority, as you see with the acquittal for Trump.
Right.
You saw where that stood.
So do you think Trump got acquitted because of being a white supremacist or a white warriorist or a white privileger or a white benefiter, which is the next one we're going to talk about.
I'm not sure where he would stand there, but no, I mean, the real reason is because no evidence was brought to the table, no witnesses were called, no investigation was actually done. It was purely a political move to try and brand him to the point to where he could not run for office again because they're deathly afraid of him to run in 2024. But number 4 here on the list, white benefit, you're really going to like this. So,
I doubt it.
white benefit. If you fall in that category, you're sympathetic to a set of issues, but only privately. You won't actually speak or act in public, only in solidarity, because benefiting through whiteness in public is something that you're going to deal with. And it says here in parentheses, some people of color are in this category as well, Dick.
Oh, wait a minute. What happened here? What color is this one? Is this yellow? Is this orange?
White benefit is technically, according to this graph, it's in the orange. This is as orange as you can get on the scale.
Okay.
So
what does the color orange represent? Your moderate orange and red are colors of anger, right? So that would be in the moderately upset, or maybe not. I don't know.
Well, a national, orange threat means that it's possible a bomb might hit our fucking territory, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So that's obviously bad. Okay. So the next one, because we're gonna go to the Catholic Church here on this one and call it the White Confessional.
The White Confessional.
So,
Speak to me.
So if you're a white
Tell me your
confessional, Dick,
sins.
some exposure of your whiteness takes place.
Whoa. How do you expose your whiteness? Do you wear short sleeves?
Well, no, you apologize to people
For being white?
for being white.
Okay.
But as a way of being accountable to a person of color after, and these type of people seek validation from people of color.
Okay. So basically, you're sympathetic to the issues that they're facing, not only in private and on your back porch when you're talking about things and drinking your beers and whatever the hell you do, but you also speak and act in solidarity publicly because you feel like you have something to gain from this, or you're doing it for truth. Because I think a lot of times when we get into these situations, and I think it's known and calculated with the triggers that are shoved down your throat on a daily fucking basis, that you are operating off pure, raw emotion. Passion and emotion without direction is a dangerous combination.
It is.
That's what I'm saying.
It is.
So, why? Okay. Continue, please. How's schools? This is being taught in schools.
This is being taught in school.
Okay, let's keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean,
keep
this
that in mind.
is what they're trying to teach the children. So,
Right.
Which is why this is so damaging. It's not just about separating us adults, because I think we can see past these things and know what bullshit it actually is and how it is trying to divide all of us.
Right.
And what that means. So, but just to dive into this further, we have 3 more to go here.
Okay.
Now, this next one, I believe, starts us into that yellowish green area where you're kind of a safe white person.
Okay.
If you think this way. But they would call you a white critical.
You're a white critical.
You take on board critiques of whiteness and invest in exposing
You are critically
or
white.
marking the white regime. You refuse to be complicit with the regime. Whiteness speaking back to whiteness, right? So these are the people who publicly speak. So I would assume these are the white people that show up to the Black Lives Matter rallies,
You be white, white.
right? So those are the white people saying that white people are bad.
Yeah. I'm bad.
I'm bad, and I'm here.
I'm going to pay for their badness.
I'm so sorry for my white people friends.
Yeah. Does that come?
who are oppressing you.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you something. And I want honesty here. Okay. I'm not saying that it's not good to be an advocate of something. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be passionate about something.
Sure.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have dreams.
Right.
You know, you gotta have goals to go with those dreams. But what I am saying is, when you set these things in motion and you want to accomplish something,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't plan it and you don't work at it
Mm-hmm.
and understand that because you don't get your way at that particular moment doesn't mean you're not going to get to your end result.
Okay.
You just stop picturing that fucking end perfect result that you think you're going to get because you'll self-sabotage it every time.
Mm-hmm.
And you just stay focused. And you don't run around and act like a goddamn fool and use every word that I'm using right now to describe this fucking situation.
Mm-hmm.
You might get taken seriously. Because the way that the protests are being handled now on a large scale of things, and the way they're being directed by all parties involved, to include the political parties, the Democratic parties, the Republican parties, the Libertarian parties, the fucking Antifa, all these, the Soroses. We talked about immigration and how, you know, we covered this story, what was it, a year and a half ago, I think, and where it was going. We told you that. And we also told you that immigrants coming into your country aren't typically carrying flags. Because that doesn't paint the right picture. That doesn't enforce the facts you're trying to present. Long and the short, I fucking lost where I was going.
This is the whole point. This is the whole point of literature like this being sent and pushed into the public is to divide us so we don't pay attention to what we're trying to manifest in our lives, right? We are a threat to the system if we actually focus on our gifts that we're given, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually spend time on trying to monetize our passions, right? That is a threat to the system because then we're not working for large corporations and paying high taxes to fund
motors in the house.
The government. So, I mean, this is what this is all about. Like, I understand what you had said about, you know, what it takes to focus on the things that you need to focus on to accomplish your dreams and actually go after the things that you want to go after that your heart's actually called to.
Yeah.
This kind of literature
That's
information
thank you for reminding me.
is trying to distract you
From
and
that.
make you worry about shit that is meaningless. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't even really exist in reality. I mean,
Right.
let's be real here.
Hey, yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. At least not in my world. And I know if it doesn't exist in
Not
my
mine either.
world.
I mean, it's like racism has died. Like when I was in fucking junior high school, that shit was over.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
You know, you're a veteran. You know, there ain't none of that shit going on.
I have racism from
With
day
that shit.
one, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you actually fight again with somebody by your side, regardless of their skin color, all you see is another fucking human being.
That's it.
Trying to live and survive.
That's it.
And I mean, this is what connects us all. I mean, we're all having the same experiences with the same emotions. It's just a different variable and a different version. And this is what the beauty of life and our experience, I think, is really all about. And
Right.
most people intrinsically understand this, which is why racism to me isn't really a thing. But you have the mainstream media and the enemy here trying to force feed us these problems, like they force fed us crack cocaine, right? And they force fed us HIV.
And the force feeding
To-
vaccines.
To force feed us vaccines to divide us, right? And make our lives restricted so we cannot mobilize properly, gather properly, say the things that we think are true, not even have freedom of speech to, you know, say the things that needed to be said to organize the people and give them the truth of what's actually happening.
Yes. On top of the challenge of challenging people's beliefs to the point that they shut you down because when you challenge someone's beliefs
Mhm.
with actual logical sense and solutions, they have to create the other problem. Like, this ties into social media too.
Absolutely.
You know, and social media in and of itself,
Absolutely.
like I've got some great audio that we're gonna play from that too. Let's finish this out real quick. This is how this is all tying together. We're gonna get there. You gotta think about it. They've stripped spelling. They've stripped, not entirely, but they've stripped cursive. They've stripped grammar. They've put everything in core curriculum containers, which is a container for your mind and how your mind processes. It makes you an overthinker. Then they add this technology that is being used to enslave people because it creates just enough distraction. The people yelling racism are the people that keep the shit alive. You're correct, because we're stuck on this word. We're stuck on this idiotism. So then you have the social media because everybody's temporarily distracted, checking what like they have, checking who texts them, checking how many Instagram hearts they got, all this shit. How do you fuck? Hey, welcome, Wolf. Thank you for Wolfley Nolan. Thank you for joining. We're talking about some heavy shit. We just might keep on going because I'm feeling it. You know, and it's toxic. And they're only doing it to compete for your activity or your attention.
It really is. It's all a distraction. So
what would you do if I say, hey, Mr. White, you's a white traitor?
White traitor?
What is a white traitor to you, Mr. White?
Well, that would mean that I'm actively refusing complicity, and I name what's going on.
What's going on, Mr. White traitor?
The intention is to subvert white authority and tell the truth at whatever cost. And I want to dismantle the institutions.
Do you?
That are run by white people.
By white people.
Mm-hmm.
Down with the whitey!
You know, change all the names of schools.
Okay. So is this in line with Biden and his? We're gonna punch at this culture. We're gonna punch at this culture. We're gonna punch at this culture.
Absolutely.
Until we get it done. Did he not say that in his debate?
About racial equality. Yes.
Oh, racial equality. There's the magic word.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that when you typically talk about equality and equity and value, it's assigned to a monetary institution and or denomination and or whatever the fuck you use for money, cryptocurrency, yada yada. Point being, you take a word that has no meaning. We're all equal. We're all equal.
Sure.
The only thing that separates you is the meaning you assign to yourself, the situations you face, and how you let that meaning that you assign develop your character. That's it.
That's it.
That is it. You don't need all of this shit. Why put yourself in the position where you always want to be bombarded with stress and overreacting and temporarily distracted, and then you complain about where the time goes. Oh, where does all the time go? Where does all the time go? It goes where the fuck you put it, you idiot. That's what I'm saying. And now you want to call somebody a white traitor.
Well,
because how does that hit you?
I'll tell you.
It's fucking retarded.
The end goal here will be number 8, which is what they really want everyone who is white to be, which is basically absolutely embarrassed of who they are and where they come from and the color of their skin and the fact that they have any kind of money or are doing well in life and we don't deserve it. They want us to, not allow whiteness to reassert itself, meaning, we can't allow white people to ever have power again. And the funniest fucking thing about this is it's white people telling us this.
Yes. Yes. So, connect the dots. Rah, 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 rah.
So, again, it's just, it's a huge problem with the narrative of the mainstream media and what they're trying to push on the public to divide us to then conquer. I mean, and this is something that, like you said, what are we going to do about it? Right?
What are we going to do about it?
Man, I've heard crazy conversations.
Yeah.
Of like what we talked about, the revolution, right?
Do you think it's coming?
I know it's coming.
Whoever's watching right now, Kevin, do you think the revolution is coming? Do you want the revolution to come? And why do you want it to come, or why do you think it should come, if in fact you do think it does need to come? No,
ammo sales are through the roof right now.
Huh?
Gun sales are through the roof.
Gun sales are through the roof. Ammo sales are through the roof. What else? It's like, you realize that not everything. You brought up the church earlier. Sorry, because of the confession piece.
Yep.
What is the symbol of the Vatican actually mean? The serpent and what?
Serpent and the staff?
Yeah. What is that about?
Well,
this is good insight, guys. It's kind of showing you something that you might not be aware of.
Catholicism and Christianity and specifically the Catholic Church,
right,
is really just sun worship, is what it is. This is why, they pray to Mother Mary more than they would pray to Jesus, right? They worship the serpent god. It's a perversion of the Luciferian doctrine wrapped up into a story of like an in-between story of Judaism and Luciferianism, honestly, and the Christian Bible, right, is when we talk about Jesus as Christians, they say God. Okay, they won't say Jesus. They'll say God, or they'll talk about Mother Mary, right? Because their the true alliance is with the serpent and the staff, not the Savior. And the idea here is Lucifer is the god of this earth, and my research of spirituality and the stories of how everything was created, I believe that is true.
Okay.
And so in order to gain power, true power,
as we define it, by the way, and as it's presented to you
by the media,
and the constructs of how you're taught.
Yep, is gained by having a relationship with Luciferian entities, which is why you'll see people like Alex Jones, who filmed things like Bohemian Grove,
yes,
out in California,
which is called ritualistic sacrifice,
which they do the cremation of Kir, which they sacrifice a child, an infant baby, to the fire, right in front of a giant statue of Molech, which is basically a giant owl, which is why the owl is a very common symbol of what people would call Illuminati, or just the group that is actually the puppet masters who are trying to push the New World Order. These things are real, and the Catholic Church has the power there. Like, you have to understand that there's, I'm watching a damn show on Netflix that talks about the Medici family, okay, who were bankers back from the 1200s all the way up to the 1700s,
right?
Who actually held the Pope's money. And it literally talks about the war of the bankers of the times fighting for allegiance for the Pope, who is the head of the Catholic Church. So that way they own all of the wealth and money of the church, which was the largest wealth of the time. Now, I'm sorry to say, but if you want to find out where evil lurks, you need to follow the money.
Yes.
If you follow the money and you see the money is actually going to causes and people to actually make a real change, then maybe you should give them more money. But if you actually look at the research of where government spends their money, where a lot of these large nonprofits spend their money,
right, with their CEOs, and that's a great point. And I asked Kevin about the revolution. And he said, man, I think about it all the time. I think so. Not sure what's supposed to be, but I know one thing, I'm ready. Then he said, hey, that's some shit. It's pretty powerful, man, that you're just talking about. And you're absolutely right. It is some powerful shit. And there's a reason I brought that up, because as with everything, there's ties of language into this. You know what I mean? And let me pull that up real quick here. On the notes, I had this all set up. Language lesson to the day, and this is how this ties in, because we're separating by race, we're separating by class, we're separating by
age groups, or
beliefs. We're separating by false narratives. You got the public health narrative. You got the public, the political narrative.
by the way you vote.
Everything.
By the way you spend your money, by what you do on the weekends, whether or not you own a business.
How much you check your Facebook, if you got a business, what kind of car you got, yada yada. You know the deal, you know the drill, and it a lot of it does stem from religion. If you look at speaking of religion, here's a quick history lesson. There's something called the Cyrus cylinder, and it was discovered. It's one of the only original, only existing tablets that they found to date. It's 2,500 years old. It's written in original Babylonian text.
Talking about the Emerald tablets.
No, I'm talking about one is specifically called the Cyrus cylinder that went with Cyrus as he conquered and released the Jews about 540 years before the actual story of Exodus.
Okay.
Not a coincidence, by the way. And what's written on this cylinder is original Babylonian text, and it tells the story of the night before in the feast, and then walked right in and conquered. Because they were just let in, and the writing was on the wall. And what he wrote, him letting go all of the prisoners, letting them take their gods, their statues, everything else, you look at the language and the way that was written, you could consider it the first press media release, essentially.
Right.
It mirrors, in many ways and structures, our Constitution. Very, very interesting. A lot of people don't know that. And the language that religion has been written in. You read the story. For this lesson, I want to talk about the language used in the Bible to tell the story of the greatest warrior in the Bible, Joshua, right? There's a phrase in there when they're talking to God, Moses talking to God, he said, I will send hornets. A lot of people aren't taught this in school. And when you use the characteristics of animals and small creatures, it's a very, very good method to communicate mannerisms. The word
it's like an analogy.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. But we're seeing this at face value. And you think lotus, you think Egypt, and you think of the plagues that came in and whatnot. Just like this virus would be considered a hornet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And here's why. And he said, I will send in the hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. That's from Exodus 23:28. And I'm not preaching right now, But when you look at that statement there, and they're trying to take back a land and conquer Canaanite, and they're on their conquest and talking to Moses, it's no different than us today when we send in our Navy SEALs, our Screaming Eagles, our Devil Dogs into combat. You should easily be able to associate those two if you haven't before. So that's why I'm talking about the language and how they change in the bills and the amendments. Is it for the people, or is it of the people?
It's all symbolism. You have to understand these people communicate with symbols. What they're actually saying is not what they really mean.
Correct.
This is always something that's been an issue. But what they actually say is not what they really mean. They talk in symbols. This is what
Don't hurt yourself, Kevin.
Organizations like the Masonic temples.
Yeah.
These secret societies. These are all
like
stems.
322.
Right. These are all symbols, and these people have to tell you what's going on before they actually do it. Right. And so they do it in a way that if you can read between the lines, you know it's coming, which is why you have whistleblowers. That's why you have people that, will talk about conspiracy theories and, actually come out with information that's real. And it's very, very important that we pay attention to these symbols and this language that you talk about.
Yes.
Because it literally tells us what's going to happen before it happens. Now, paying attention to these things and actually, trying to find a source that's real with deep fake videos these days and all the different ways that they can fake information. It's very tough. However, it seems to me in my experience that if you can find several sources that are leading to something, or you find something that is being suppressed, you look at a video on your Facebook Messenger that a friend sends you, and then 2 hours later it's not available, that should strike your interest,
Yes, it should.
right?
Yes,
Like,
it should.
You should pay attention to those kind of things.
It should, and they're just using the divide. There's one thing I definitely want to. You going piss?
Yes, I have to. I can't hold it anymore.
Oh man. Okay, no problem. While he's gone, I'm going to take a moment. I want to talk to you about something that we've been doing and working on really hard behind the scenes. We're so excited to bring this to you. And you take a look at the screen up there. You'll see that logo up on that side. Sorry, I forgot I was flipping around. LieDownOrStandUp.org. Okay, LieDownOrStandUp.org is an amazing organization. It's run by a good friend of mine. His name is Sean, and we're inviting you guys to come out and meet us. Okay, we're just a couple of weeks away from the 8th annual March for TBI at Lake Eola Park. That's 431 East Colonial Drive in Orlando, and we'll be hosting that right there with World Beer. We're looking forward to this amazing event, both with our vendors and the sponsors. We want you to join us for live music, live art. I don't know why that just popped up. I do apologize. Art therapy, music therapy, disc golf, and self-defense. We'll have a live podcast, and I'm accepting applications for those who want to be interviewed. We'll be coming out basically with a TBI, March for TBI documentary, and that's going to be going towards our efforts to raise the awareness about March for TBI. It's awesome. It's just truly awesome. You're going to get to network with amazing people, enjoy great food, great smiles. Our event will spread from World of Beer across the lawns of the International Plaza. We got a map that's going to be posted up. Registration for the March for TBI 2021 is very important this year. We have to adhere to all the City of Orlando COVID codes. Okay, so to bring this event to you, we have to adhere to the city's COVID codes and the social distancing procedures. You will have to have your temperature taken. You will have to sanitize your mat or your hands and stuff like that. Masks will be required for the outdoor piece and the World of Beer in the patio. The restaurant rules apply. If you're sitting down and eating and you're distanced, that those rules apply as well. Everything's going to be available for it to you. The loading and drop-off zones will be marked. We're going to have live music. It's going to be awesome. And I just want to say we're really grateful for everybody's support and cooperation when we've been dealing with this. It's been absolutely amazing the amount of love that's been going into this. The registration link, it's at www.eventbrite.com. Manage events, I'll get that link out to you. If you're a survivor, if you're a super liver, it's definitely free to register. Meaning if you had a brain injury or something of that nature, if you're an advocate, you're more than welcome to volunteer, or if you know somebody who might want to contribute to this event, please just let us know. We'd love to take care of it. So on that note, I want to say thank you. Again, check out the Facebook page for Lie Down or Stand Up. Check out the website, liedownorstandup.org. It's registered 5013C. Great organization. We got a lot of stuff. I'll talk to you about the sponsors and everything else tomorrow. All right. Welcome back, Mr. White.
Oh, thank you.
8 degrees from White. Should we start that new game? Will it go viral?
I don't know. Depends on which degree you're feeling today.
Which degree I'm feeling today. I don't know. I'm feeling like I want to. I recorded some stuff in relation to this this whole social pandemic and how social media is contributing to it, and how it's helped driving divides. When we teach things in school like the white supremacist and everything else, all of these things that are being interjected into the schools and being taught to your children are being reinforced by social media, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. I mean, they are the fact checkers. They're the ones that are censoring people. They're the ones that are enforcing this cancel culture that we see on a day-to-day basis, where people are being losing their jobs for stuff they posted years ago, right?
It is.
Seriously?
It was my mistake.
I mean, I think
Of course, it was your mistakes, like bro.
To try to make these products as addictive as possible.
like UW.
And now the people you're hearing from are
We now know
actually
that
those
many
who
of the major
work for
social media
Google and develop
companies
these
hire
products.
individuals called attention engineers who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places.
Attention engineers, dude. So we're borrowing principles from Las Vegas gambling. Just that right there. How does that tell you this video is probably gonna go?
Well, it's probably going to hopefully help you understand and expose the fact that these people are engineering a product for you to consume to keep you distracted.
Okay. I hope so. Still not gonna
Try
believe
to make these products as addictive as possible. That is the desired use case of these products, is that you use it in an addictive fashion because that maximizes the profit that can be extracted from your attention and data.
Boom. That's coming from Big Tech Insider, someone who's developed portions of Google stuff. Maximize addictive properties so we can maximize our profit. Where does that profit come from? It comes from your data. It comes from your contact list. It comes from your friends list. It comes from the types of videos you watch. That's how they know. That in combination with the biometrics reading and the face scanning, they tie you up with the ads, and that's all you get bombarded with day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. You're living in a state of just disarray, confusion. I don't even know if I need to go on anymore with this. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, if you want.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you got left?
Well, I mean, if you want some, just to go crazy left field, did you see the Mars lander today?
The Mars, that's right. That was the one piece we had left to go.
Perseverance.
The Perseverance and the Mars landed on the moon, or landed on Mars. Yeah, the Mars landed on Mars.
But did you see the damn pictures?
Sounded very quiet. What's up, Steve? Did we see the pictures? Did I see the pictures?
Is there any way you could possibly pull that up?
Hey man, let me
So today, historic day,
I had it up.
the Mars land rover Perseverance that initially launched in July 2020 has landed on the surface of Mars. I actually had the pleasure to watch the live feed as it landed. It was kind of interesting.
How was it?
And well, it was pretty exciting. I mean, they had some cool graphics and stuff that kind of showed you where they thought the lander was, and in reference to the planet Mars and where it was landing and such. But I mean, my issue, man, they had it all hyped up that when the rover lands on Mars, that it'll actually show some pictures, right? We'll get some images of what Mars looks like, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't know how you feel about the moon landing.
I think it was full of shit.
Well, I think you and I need to have a show about that, because I think my theory on why they made those edits will be completely different. I don't know if you've heard that theory or not, what I'm going to say, but let's talk about this real quick. I mean, this was launched in July 2020. Okay. The picture.
We have a 4K smart camera on your phone, by the way.
The picture that these guys show of Mars today was like a picture from the Motorola Razr with a black and white filter that I had, in 2002.
Okay.
It's got like this fisheye lens, and I'm telling you, I'm not an expert on pictures, but the damn shadows don't match up already. On the first damn picture they show of what Mars looks like, and I just don't understand. I really don't understand. Not even a color picture, but the rover tweeted from Mars.
It tweeted from Mars.
It tweeted from
How long
Mars.
did that tweet take to get here?
I don't know. I heard it was like an 11-minute delay, but
well, that's weird because you mentioned the other moon landing, and I thought that Nixon was talking direct line to that crew when they were on the moon. That's the way it was portrayed.
It sure was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Oh, okay.
You're not. So, I don't know. It literally looks like a 1 megapixel camera.
Right.
That's black and white, and it looks like I'm taking a picture of a picture. Is what they're kind of showing. Because it has this completely, circular lens. It's not just a fisheye. It's like, it's strange. If you haven't looked it up, I would highly recommend it. Take a look.
I'm trying to get it up here, man. It's not working.
That's all right. But I guess it was a historical day. We saw guys in a room celebrating that their rover landed on Mars, and I'm really curious. I'm really curious to hear what Elon Musk has to say about this landing and the pictures as well, because I know.
Why is that something that strikes your curiosity?
Well, because Elon has done a lot of things um, to start occupying Mars with the
Right.
SpaceX program, right?
There's the picture up on your screen now, guys. Sorry it took a second to get it there.
He wants to be able to populate Mars because humans are humans, and
Right.
somebody's gonna fuck it up enough to where we're gonna have to populate some other place in order to survive.
And that's not fucking up our ozone, by the way. That's actually fucking up our electromagnetic shield. That's what holds us into our little fabric web of Cosmo, and that's what keeps us and deflects the radiation and everything else off the solar waves. Unless I'm mistaken on that as well, but I doubt it.
I'm not a scientist, so
I'm not either.
But yeah, I am really curious to hear what Elon says because
You look at those pictures there, right?
So far, he's not been a bullshitter in my eyes, and it's gonna be really interesting.
Right. And he's
Really interesting.
definitely not. He's not a bullshitter. Absolutely right with that. And the other thing too is like you look at the pictures that were on the screen when I had it up. I'm not going to go back to it, but it was up there. It might be on your screen now. I see it there. It says we're touchdown. NASA's Mars Perseverance rover safely lands on Red Planet. He's working on a rocket to land on water for the windmills, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or he's working on a rocket that can land on water or land on the subsurface.
Yes, I mean he's already done it successfully with his satellite launches, right? To where he's basically trying to make a rocket that's reusable. So this way, the actual cost to launch is significantly less. So you can do it more and more, right? So he's already come up with the technology to land on a pad that's floating on the water, which is absolutely phenomenal. And of course, he's had some failures. So far for his launch for the Mars rocket, it's exploded every single time, but you can catch him on Joe Rogan podcast. He just had one literally a couple days ago where he talks about that in more detail. But he's close. I mean, you're literally talking. I guess there's a window to go to Mars in about a year or so, and then again 3 years after that. So about 4 years from now, Elon says that he's very, very confident that he'll be ready to at least send robots to Mars to start building infrastructure to hold the civilization, and that's his goal, which is quite interesting.
That is very interesting. I've heard of other projects run, like Project Asgardia, that's only taken 100,000. And then we read stories like this where we have landings on Mars, and you see the pictures that were on your screen. That you have these little circular pictures. You have a shadow that's coming from a light source in the rear. It's taking pictures of rocky, almost desert-like terrain with shadows from the rocks facing the opposite direction. Yeah, that could be Arizona, that could be Nevada, and it's on a circular fisheye camera. You have 4K cameras on your phone.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
This just doesn't seem.
I don't get it, but it clearly looks like there's at least 2 or 3 light sources here.
Yes.
Bunch of fog in the distance. It looks like there's kind of
Is that
like
the Rockies?
a little bump here. It could be like a mountain in the distance type thing.
Almost looks like a cloud.
That looks like range 400. I just don't know, man. I don't know. It's weird, and not even in color, which blows my mind. You can't tell me that it's too much information.
No, definitely not. Definitely not too much information. So anyway, on that note, I'm gonna cue us out of here, and we're gonna have a great rest of our evening, talk about some more shit, and enjoy our medicine while we come up with other ways to adamantly entertain. You have anything you want to plug before we sign off here, man?
Well, I mean, we got the March for TBI on March 4th coming up. We've got shows next weekend. We got the Pisces Birthday Bash in Ormond Beach and Sanford Porch Fest on Saturday the 27th.
Sanford Porch Fest.
Nice. We just booked the Hilton in Cocoa Beach, like March 14th. Should be interesting.
Okay, well, great, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Thank you so much for being here tonight, man. Greatly appreciate it. We had a great show tonight. There's something new I'm going to be doing next week in the receiving of the upcoming receiving of a beautiful daughter. And it's called 52 Things Kids Need from a Dad. Okay? And every week during the show, we're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about one thing that every kid needs from their father. You like it, you could love it, you could leave it, I don't really care, that's what's going to happen. I got to say huge thank you to Sean and helping with or organize this March for TBI event.